Live in high definition from WBFF in Baltimore. This is Fox 45 News at 10.
A city in crisis as Baltimore tries to recover from the riots. The murder rate rises.
Families are tired of feeling this pain, and so am I.
Tonight, Anthony Batts is out as police commissioner. Good evening, I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Jennifer Gilbert. We have live team coverage of the firing of the police commissioner.
Shelley Orman brings us reaction from people on the streets. But first, Keith Daniels is there as Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake surprised the city with her announcement. Keith?
Well, Kai, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake appointed Anthony Batts as police commissioner in 2012. The mayor says he helped make the city safer. But tonight, his time on the job is over. At Baltimore City Hall, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake announces a shakeup at the top of the Baltimore City Police Department.
Moments ago, I thanked Police Commissioner Anthony Batts for his service to Baltimore City.
Police Commissioner Anthony Batts fired. Minutes before the announcement, we were actually waiting for a news conference with Batts downtown to get his reaction to the police union's just released report criticizing the department's leadership during the city riots, when suddenly we were told to go to City Hall.
This was not an easy decision.
When we got there, the mayor stepped forward with Deputy Commissioner Kevin Davis, who's now the interim police commissioner.
My focuses for the future are really pretty simple. It's all about the crime fight, and it's all about the relationship with our community.
The mayor says she fired Batts because of the continued violent crime in the city, even though earlier she had continued to show support for Batts. But obviously, that changed.
Recent events have placed an intense focus on our police leadership, distracting many from what needs to be our main focus, the fight against crime. So we need a change. I have said time and time again that a key goal of my administration is to grow Baltimore by 10,000 families over the next decade. We cannot grow Baltimore without making our city a safer place to live.
Well, according to the city, Batts will remain on the payroll for the next 45 days, and he will also receive at least $190,000 in severance pay. Meantime, a closer look at the mayor's praise for the commissioner before she fired him. That's coming up in 30 minutes. We're live now at City Hall. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Keith. You can hear everything the mayor had to say at that news conference today. Go to foxbaltimore.com/rawnews. And we'll get a closer look at interim commissioner Kevin Davis, new at 10:30 tonight.
Tonight, the Baltimore Sun says Anthony Batts gave this statement to the paper. Quote, "I've been honored to serve the citizens and residents of Baltimore. I've been proud to be a police officer for this city," end quote. And City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby released a statement this afternoon saying in part that we thank and appreciate Commissioner Anthony Batts for his service to the city of Baltimore and that her office has already met with interim Commissioner Davis.
And there's more reaction from City Hall to the firing of Anthony Batts. City Councilman Carl Stokes says many officers and citizens lost confidence in the commissioner. So he says today's announcement is a step in the right direction.
I hope that the FOP, the Vanguard Justice Society, the black officers, the citizens of the city, and now Commander Kevin Davis now put us all back together, and that the officers feel strong that they will police the city in a correct way, but also a very proactive way.
Stokes had been calling for Batts to step down for several weeks.
The mayor's sudden announcement of Batts' firing is catching many Baltimoreans by surprise. Shelley Orman joins us live in West Baltimore with more on what residents are saying tonight. Shelley.
Kai, reaction seems to be split, but there is no shortage of opinions, from some calling Batts a fall guy to others who say that this decision should have been made sooner.
I'm a little surprised, a little stunned that he would do that kind of out of the blue.
Many Baltimore residents getting off work Wednesday were just hearing the news about the mayor's decision to change leadership at the Baltimore Police Department.
I thought it was a horrible decision that she made, a very horrible decision.
I think that it's really exciting the change is going to actually happen.
BPD Commissioner Anthony Batts had been under mounting scrutiny in the aftermath of the riots and an increasingly violent year.
Like the riots, I think he handled that in a good way.
But not everyone put the blame directly on his shoulders.
He did a good job. I just think she's trying to just find someone to be the fall guy.
And today's decision by the mayor is not taking any pressure off her in the minds of those who voted her into office.
Just out of political pressure is the reason why she did it.
So hopefully a new commissioner would help.
Everything, but if
Hopefully a new mayor would help too if we get rid of Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. I'm just saying.
Everyone is also curious as to what comes next, saying the true tell as to whether this decision is the right one will be who is appointed as the next commissioner. Reporting live in West Baltimore, Shelley Orman, Fox 45 News.
All right, Shelley, thank you. So here's our question of the day. Do you agree with the mayor's decision to replace Commissioner Anthony Batts? More than 600 of you, 600, posted your thoughts online tonight. And here's a look at what some of you had to say tonight to this question that we posed. Eric says yes and no. He was only following orders during the riots, but he was one of the worst commissioners BCPD has had to date. That's Eric's opinion. Moving on to Melinda. Melinda says, I'd agree with the mayor's decision to replace herself. You heard a statement just now like that in Shelley Orman's package. And Patricia says, one person, man or woman, cannot be expected to fix a problem that has been decades in the making. City Councilman Carl Stokes alluded to that earlier with Jennifer in her interview with him at 4 o'clock. You can join the discussion right now about this breaking issue in Baltimore. Police Commissioner Anthony Batts out. Go to facebook.com/FoxBaltimore.
Well, on April 23rd, just 2 days before the first unrest, Crime and Justice reporter Joy LaPola sat down and asked Commissioner Anthony Batts about his future here in Baltimore.
Do you think, professionally speaking, you're going to be able to survive this here in Baltimore? Will your career survive this?
Joy, I don't worry about my career surviving. This is my calling. This is what I do. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for fame. I do it because I want to make a city better. I want to make a community better. I believe in this, and as long as I'm here, I would do everything in my heart to make this a better police department. I'll do everything in my heart to make sure that we serve this community in the proper way. And people make decisions, careers come and go, but my job is to make this a better, and as long as I'm here, I'm going to do everything I can to make this a professional police department.
But even the Friday before the riot, some people were already calling for Batts to resign. Here's his response to that.
I am clear that Reverend Gwynn of Ministerial Alliance has called for my resignation. That's not going to happen.
Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake cited the sharp rise in violence as one of the reasons for firing the police commissioner. At least 5 people have been killed in Baltimore during the past 24 hours, including 3 shot in West Baltimore last night who died. It happened at Fayette and Poppleton Streets, where investigators believe the gunman opened fire on a crowd of people, killing 2 men and a woman. A 4th victim was hospitalized and is expected to survive.
We do not believe that this is a random act of violence, but that the individuals that were involved in this incident, that it was a targeted incident. And again, there are multiple suspects involved.
My stepson got killed. It hurts. It hurts to see my wife go through this. You understand? And it hurts to see his wife go through this.
And you know what? You took my child, and you're going to pay.
Police say they do have leads, but so far, no arrests.
As we've been talking about, another factor that appears to have contributed to the firing of Anthony Batts was police leadership during the Freddie Gray riots. The Fraternal Order of Police released the results of its own investigation just hours before the mayor announced that she fired the commissioner. Crime and Justice reporter Joy LaPola explains what they say are flaws in leadership centered around concerns a Fox 45 investigation revealed last week.
Chaos along city streets and the stark reality of it recurring.
There's nothing that's being put into place right now to prevent this from ever happening again.
2 days of rioting are summed up by the Fraternal Order of Police in a 32-page after-action report.
This after-action review came about because police officers sergeants, and lieutenants of the Baltimore Police Department do not want to see Baltimore burn again.
Destruction that devastated the city. Officers say it was preventable had their approach been less passive.
Right now we're just holding the line.
Hundreds of Baltimore businesses destroyed and 130 officers injured.
Certainly the leadership at the top has to take credit for it.
Questionable orders, Fox 45 uncovered in our own investigation.
The group is southbound. And once again, to all the units in patrol for unified command, do not engage and stay on your post.
Orders that the FOP is now questioning.
All right, once again, I need all patrol units to leave the downtown area.
This is about the mistakes that were made, because obviously with all the injuries we had, some mistakes were made, and moving forward and making sure it never happens again.
Officers told the FOP the commissioner ordered them to not wear riot gear, sunglasses, or gloves during the protests.
Even as bricks and bottles were being thrown at them.
Officers saying they were told to allow protesters to burn, loot, and destroy the city, so it would look like the rioters were forcing the hands of officers to take action, backing up the mayor's initial statement.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well,
which she later backed away from. Other officers say as early as Saturday, they were told to not arrest anyone unless it was first cleared by legal advisors within the department. On April 25th, the Saturday before Monday's riots, police arrested 13 people.
I think Saturday set up the stage for Monday. If things would have been handled a lot different on Saturday, I say Monday never happens.
The FOP writing, quote, "History has shown that when police leadership allows protesters to grow violent, anarchy will surely follow unless quickly addressed." Joy LaPolla, Fox 45 News.
You can hear the FOP's entire news conference online. Go to foxbaltimore.com/raw news, and you can read their entire report by going to foxbaltimore.com/newslinks. And we will have much more on the firing of Police Commissioner Anthony Batts, new at 10:30 tonight.
Breaking news tonight out of Baltimore County. Police are responding to a hazmat situation in Dundalk. Police responded to Shipping Place near North Center Place about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Investigators say they don't believe the community is in any immediate danger, but hazardous devices unit has been called in.
A traffic stop on the 4th of July.
He did have a badge, but I didn't realize it was fake till I saw real cops later.
What the fake cop told her, next on Fox 45 News at 10.
A naked man steals a car, an officer's car. The reason he told police he drove away and the destination he made it to.
And we saw a hot day out there. Temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s. A chance for some showers and thunderstorms across parts of the area tonight. 77 in Baltimore. More storm potential for tomorrow, and we could get some severe weather. I'll show you when that could occur coming up in my forecast.
A Maryland State Trooper is seriously hurt during a traffic stop this afternoon. This is a look at the traffic jam caused by the crash along Interstate 95. It happened in the southbound lanes between routes 175 and 32. The trooper had pulled over a car when a third vehicle hit the other two while the trooper was outside of his vehicle. This is in Howard County. The trooper was taken to shock trauma and is expected to survive.
A 4th of July traffic stop isn't news. One that involves a fake police officer is. Paul Gessler reports from Anne Arundel County, where the real police want to find this fake one who's still on the loose.
Traffic stops on holiday weekends are not uncommon.
Any regular traffic stop can be, a situation that's a little unnerving for a citizen, especially someone who's never even been pulled over by the police.
Which is why a specific stop here in Glen Burnie Saturday was so unsettling. It wasn't your typical traffic stop. The officer had a fake car, a fake badge, and a fake uniform. Turns out he was a fake cop.
He did have a badge, but I didn't realize it was fake till I saw real cops later.
Sierra Galladay does not want her face shown. She was pulled over by this impersonator 1 o'clock Saturday morning.
He said, "Okay, well, I saw that you were texting." I said, "No, I wasn't." He said, "You'd never seatbelt on." I said, "Yes, I did." And then he said I was speeding. And I said, "No, I wasn't."
It took about 15 minutes before Sierra thought to call her father.
The one that was dragging on was like, okay, now it's getting worse and worse, and he's getting angrier and angrier. So as soon as I picked up my phone, he ran away.
The man drove off onto I-97. Now, the real police want to find him.
I mean, that he took it to that length, I think that portion of it's a little bit unusual.
I don't know who he was or what he was doing, but he had handcuffs and I think he wanted to do something with them, but it was crazy. It was scary.
Police say the man had a white Ford Crown Victoria with flashing blue and red dome lights.
I should have known then that he wasn't a real cop when he turned the lights off. But it was my first time getting pulled over. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm halfway tired and I wanted to go home.
Home, where she hasn't felt safe enough to stay the past 4 days. In Glen Burnie, Paul Gessler, Fox 45 News.
Baltimore County Police have charged a man with possession and distribution of child pornography. 27-year-old Jai Kang was taken into custody after detectives served a search and seizure warrant at his home in Owings Mills. Police say several computers and electronic devices they found contained child porn, which Kang willfully received and shared. Kang is a custodian at Marriott's Ridge High School in Howard County. He's been released on $100,000 bail.
Law enforcement officials confirmed the gun used in last week's fatal shooting on a San Francisco pier belonged to a federal agent. Reports indicate the gun was listed as stolen before the incident. Suspect Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez pleading not guilty at his arraignment yesterday. He says he found the gun wrapped in a T-shirt and it fired on its own. San Francisco did not comply with a federal request to keep Sanchez in custody due to the city's sanctuary status. Officials are prohibited from turning illegal immigrants over to immigration authorities unless there's a warrant for their arrest.
If you have a situation where law enforcement, the police department as an example, becomes an arm of immigration, those undocumented people who live in those neighborhoods are not going to come forward if they're the victims of crime or if they saw crime.
Sanchez is now being held on $5 million. He's due back in court July 22nd.
Continuing that story, the shooting death in San Francisco of Catherine Steinle, allegedly by an illegal immigrant, has reignited the debate over immigration laws in this country. National correspondent Christine Frizzell takes a look at how lawmakers in Washington are responding.
San Francisco, Detroit, Albuquerque, Chicago. These cities all have one thing in common, according to the Congressional Research Service. They've adopted formal or informal policies limiting cooperation with federal immigration authorities. They're known to many as sanctuary cities. Immigration and Customs Enforcement estimates there are at least 200 such cities around the United States. Stephen Camarata with the Center for Immigration Studies, a conservative think tank in Washington, wants lawmakers to take a hard stand.
It's just common sense. You end up in our jails, you're here illegally, whether or not you have a previous conviction, the point is you should go home.
The issue now front and center for some lawmakers on Capitol Hill, with legislation now being reintroduced that would punish these so-called sanctuary cities by cutting federal funding.
My legislation would simply say that if a city or a state does not cooperate with federal immigration authorities to enforce our immigration laws, then they shouldn't be receiving federal taxpayer dollars in the form of law enforcement grants.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, who represents San Francisco, defended the policy in a statement, saying sanctuary cities were, quote, originally established by religious and community leaders to protect those fleeing violence and oppression in their native countries. Even presidential candidate Hillary Clinton weighed in. She sat down with our Cedar Rapids, Iowa affiliate on Tuesday.
You can make the laws very clear. This is what is expected on the federal level. Here is your circumscribed area of discretion where you can make a decision, but beyond that, no, you have to follow federal law.
For Camarata, the shooting in San Francisco was tragic, but not an isolated incident.
This happens all the time. I mean, the biggest story never told is that this happens all the time.
I'm Christine Frizzell, Fox 45 News.
European officials are now setting a deadline for a final bailout deal for Greece's economic future. A decision will be made this Sunday at a full European Union summit. Athens is requesting a 3-year loan program from Europe's bailout fund, but didn't provide details on the changes they'll put in place in exchange for the aid. Greek voters rejecting previous creditor proposals in a referendum last weekend, prompting fears Greece could soon be out of the Eurozone.
We demand an agreement with our neighbors, but one which gives us a sign that we are on a long-lasting basis exiting from the crisis, which will demonstrate that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
All of us are responsible for the crisis, and all of us have a responsibility to resolve it.
The Obama administration maintains there's no immediate risk to the U.S. economy, but a resolution is in the best interest of all parties. Greece promising to immediately implement tax and pension reforms in its loan requests. Those details are expected to come tomorrow.
Steamy summer weather.
Yes, once again, our chief meteorologist Vitas Reed is here with a first look at your Weather Authority forecast. Hi, Vitas.
Hey, Kai, Jennifer, definitely a warm day out there today. Temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s, and we got to see some spotty showers and thunderstorms firing off earlier today. There's still a few remaining showers out there, but looking at the temperatures, we're slowly cooling, but it is hot and muggy out there still. 77 degrees in Baltimore, looking at 79 D.C., 77 over in Salisbury, and we still have 79 in Hagerstown. Taking a look at the HD radar scan in the sky, as you can see, a little bit of remaining showers. A little line of showers came down out of Pennsylvania, just a few blips up there just north of Cockeysville, Hunt Valley, north of Towson, around Bel Air. A little heavier showers near Perryville and then also towards Elkton and northeast. Looks like this will continue to fizzle out, but still there's a threat of more thunderstorms for tomorrow that we have to keep an eye out for. The real threat will be severe weather late in the afternoon. I'm going to break down what we could see and how long that severe weather will stick around coming up.
All right, thank you, Vitas. An unusual sight on the water. Coming up, the sea creatures that surfaced and how those nearby reacted.
A naked man steals an officer's car. The reason he told police he drove away and the place he headed.
The sister of a murder victim had to be escorted out of a courtroom in Houston this morning. The trial was supposed to begin today for Bardo Bustos. He's accused of killing 31-year-old Felicia Courtney, stabbing her several times and throwing her over the second-floor balcony. But at the last minute, Bustos took a plea deal of 45 years in prison. Well, that upset the victim's sister, Amanda Courtney. You can see her there being led out of the courtroom. The victim's mother gave the impact statement telling Bustos the agony the 4 children will go through, never getting to even hold their mother's hand again.
A bad day for a New Mexico police officer when a naked man drives off in his cruiser. Look at this.
Okay, get back over here. Let's get on the grass, okay? Sir! Sir! Hey, get out of there! Hey! 47 PD, he's stolen my unit. He's taken off eastbound on Llano in my unit, running lights.
A naked man told dispatch he stole a police car because he was poisoned. That situation happened in Clovis, New Mexico, and was captured on video by the deputy's body camera. The police officer tries to talk to the man, but the tables turn when Jesus Tarango jumps in the patrol car and tries to get away. You can hear him get on the radio and talk to dispatch.
I need help. This officer didn't want to help me. I'm poisoned. That's why I brought the car.
Deputies say Tarango drove himself to the local hospital. He was taken into custody as he ran for the door.
Oh my God, they're running from Oh my God, this is...
Coming up, an unexpected image in the middle of the ocean. The animals that emerged and how it affected boaters nearby.
Police Commissioner Anthony Batts fired. Why the mayor says it needed to be done now and how the interim commissioner plans to move forward.
And we're looking at warm and muggy conditions tonight. Temperatures in the mid-upper 70s across the area. We have a few spotty showers up to the northeast of the city, up there in Cecil County. But it's going to get noisy tomorrow evening with the threat of severe thunderstorms. I'll show you the reason why next in my forecast.
Our cover story tonight, the change at the top of the Baltimore City Police Department.
Baltimore City Police Commissioner Anthony Batts says he's been honored to serve and proud to be a police officer for this city.
That was the former commissioner's reaction after word that he'd been fired. Our Keith Daniels live at City Hall where Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake made the surprise announcement. Keith?
Well, we're told the mayor made that announcement just moments after she told Batts the news. Now, in fact, we were actually waiting for a news conference with Batts downtown to get his reaction to the police union's just released report criticizing the department's leadership during the city riots, when suddenly we were told by a police spokesperson to go to City Hall. Now, when we got there, the mayor stepped forward with Deputy Commissioner Kevin Davis, who's now the interim police commissioner. But before she presented Davis, the mayor praised Batts.
Under Commissioner Batts, we've made Baltimore safer. Through a broad range of initiatives, he helped modernize our police force. He helped put more cops on the streets during peak periods of crime, and he brought more transparency and accountability to policing in Baltimore City.
Well, according to the city, Batts will continue to be on the payroll for the next 45 days and will get at least $190,000 in severance pay. Well, live now at City Hall, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
All right, thank you, Keith. You can hear everything the mayor said today at that news conference. Go to foxbaltimore.com/raw news.
The mayor's decision took residents by surprise this afternoon. There are no shortage of opinions about the decision. Some in Baltimore are calling Batts a fall guy. Others are saying the mayor should have done this weeks ago.
I thought it was a horrible decision. You know, the guy did a really good job. I saw him at some of the meetings at the Western District. He was there every, the third week of the month, every Thursday. You know, I mean, he did the best job he could do.
Well, I just feel like she wanted to fight the police commissioner, but not a lot of people even want to vote for her. They work as a team, you know. It's not a one-person thing, you know. Everyone has to work as a team, so, I mean, it's partially her fault also.
Well, many say the person the mayor picks as the next police commissioner will determine whether firing Batts was the right move.
So, who is Kevin Davis? Karen Parks live at City Police headquarters tonight with a look into the life of the man that is now Baltimore's interim top cop. Hi, Karen.
Hey there, Jennifer. Well, he's a homegrown cop who says it's all about the crime fight and it's all about relationships with our community.
I promised the mayor, I promised the city that I will give it my best going forward. Baltimore deserves nothing less.
It's the beginning of a new chapter in the career of interim Baltimore City Police Chief Kevin Davis.
It's just a time of refocusing and re-energizing and going after the folks who are harming this community.
Davis was born and raised in College Park, Maryland, the oldest son of a retired Prince George's County police officer. He followed his father's footsteps and entered the Prince George's County Police Academy. He worked his way from beat cop to assistant chief. Then after 21 years, he was appointed police chief in Anne Arundel County. A short tenure that was not without controversy. During the latter part of his year and a half with the county, he criticized the union's donation to support Darren Wilson, the police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, who fatally shot teenager Michael Brown, an incident that sparked many of the same complaints and frustration as the death of Freddie Gray here in Baltimore.
I appreciate the mayor's confidence in me.
Today, he became interim police chief of Baltimore City Police.
My message to the rank and file is that I will walk with them, I will serve with them, and I intend to be with them every step of the way.
Well, you can get the latest on the firing of Commissioner Anthony Batts tomorrow morning on Fox 45 Morning News and online at foxbaltimore.com.
A major U.S. airline is grounded today, and some fear it might be the work of cyber terrorists. United Airlines grounded hundreds of flights nationwide because of a busted router that wouldn't let computers communicate with each other, according to company officials. The shutdown took place for about an hour and left passengers stranded across the country.
Got here and checked in, no problem. Didn't seem to be any problems. The only problem I had was I couldn't check in through my phone.
Now, the FAA initiated what's known as a ground stop for United that lasted from 8:26 to 9:45 this morning. Some 4,900 flights were affected. At one point, agents even hand-wrote tickets to passengers to allow them to get to their destinations.
And adding to the fears today that hackers were at work, a computer glitch also blamed for shutting down the New York Stock Exchange for almost 4 hours. The NYSE says it was an internal error and not a cyber attack. But the coincidence of these two major tech failures within hours of each other has experts asking, was it more than a coincidence? The White House was quick to try to reassure the public.
There is no indication that malicious actors were involved in these technology issues.
About 200 million fewer trades than normal were made on the New York Stock Exchange today. The Dow down 260 points.
The director of the FBI tells Congress today that it is only a matter of time before ISIS successfully strikes the United States. And he says encrypted communication with people in this country often prevents surveillance. Catherine Herridge tells us about his proposed solution and why it could be a bad idea.
In a rare public session, lawmakers were told about the phenomenon of going dark. That's when ISIS operatives overseas and American recruits use encrypted communications that cannot be read, leaving investigators blind.
Increasingly, we're finding that even when we have the authority to search certain types of digital communications, we can't get the information that we need because encryption has been designed so that the information is only available to the user.
In the last 6 months, iOS 8 run devices, 80% we were not able to get into because they were locked.
Comey emphasized that ISIS overseas is reaching into homes across the country and the smartphones of young Americans, telling them to join the caliphate and if they can't travel, carry out a beheading like that of journalist James Foley.
It buzzes in their pocket. So there is a device, almost a devil on their shoulder all day long saying, kill, 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 kill.
California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein told the panel she recently met with reps from Google, Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft, and Yahoo, who said they take down suspicious content but don't tell the FBI.
The companies do not proactively monitor their sites to identify such content, nor do they inform the FBI when they identified and remove their content. I believe they should.
FBI critics say the benefits of encryption outweigh the risks, and the push to create a backdoor is misplaced.
Making a system more wiretappable by design, more vulnerable by design, because we want the good guys to be able to break into people's messages, in fact degrades security for everyone.
The tech companies recently wrote to the White House warning that weakening encryption could have unintended consequences, that a backdoor for the FBI could easily become a backdoor for criminals or professional hackers. On Capitol Hill, Catherine Herridge, Fox News. A couple celebrating their anniversary out on the water in Alaska gets a unique surprise.
Holy! Oh my God, they're running! Oh my God, this is...
Wow, look at that. A group of humpback whales surfacing right by their boat. Around a dozen whales emerged from the water at the same time. The couple was also quickly surrounded by seabirds, but as you could hear, they didn't seem to mind too much.
Amazing.
It was beautiful.
Oh, that'd be cool to see.
Their own watermelon.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
There
Right.
you go. Well, it looks like we're going to see some water tomorrow from the skies. We got some showers and thunderstorms, a few stronger to the south of us as they push south, creating some flooding conditions around PG County and down towards D.C. But it looks like we have just a few remaining showers up in Cecil County, a little broken showers Baltimore County, Harford County. But the heavier rain is going to be tomorrow, and that's when the low gets here. We could get some severe weather, folks, so that's remember that. Mark it on your calendar tomorrow afternoon. We could get some gusty storms. Now, here's what's going on. The reason why we may see some severe weather, all that heat and humidity, plus the front that's going to move in. Right now, calm and tranquil out there, just humid and moist. We're seeing those temperatures at 77 degrees, winds out of the southwest at 3, humidity level sitting at 72%, dew points at 72. So it's going to be a muggy night indeed. Temperatures stretching across the area. Elkton at 78, 79 in Chestertown, Columbia 79, 74 in Westminster, and down in Annapolis 78 degrees. So the Storm Prediction Center looking at a slight risk category for severe storms across central Maryland and the eastern shore, northern Virginia, parts of southeastern Pennsylvania, and over into Delaware and New Jersey. This yellow shaded area is the area that's projected to see severe storms tomorrow. And I'm thinking probably right in that late afternoon, probably after about 4 or 5, the real time frame between 5 and 7 to get these storms firing off. And impact forecast, I'm thinking we're going to see probably potential for some heavy rain, gusty winds, lightning, and then also some decent sized hail possibly with these segmented line storms that will be pushing in as we go through the day. So this is our storm threat potential as we go through the late afternoon. And what's causing it? Well, radar satellite showing those showers and thunderstorms out there today. That heat and humidity will be firing up. And once again, we'll get more hot air out there because we do have an area of low pressure, but a warm front out there as well. So the warm front is going to continue to ride through the region, keeping those temperatures hot in the low 90s. But by the time that cold front gets in, to our area probably after 4 or 5 o'clock. That area of low pressure will be sitting over us, and that helps create lift in the atmosphere, relatively rapid lift, and that's going to also create those gusty storms pushing through. So on the future scan, 7:30 a.m., looking at relatively quiet conditions still, even some sun possibly breaking out. By the afternoon, those thunderstorms start lining up. This is 4:30, and then probably after 5 to 7 o'clock in that time frame, those storms push through. Then it starts quieting down, but it looks like we will see things clear out for Friday, then to Saturday, pretty decent, but definitely something to watch for tomorrow night. Looking at 74 degrees, mostly cloudy, muggy, scattered showers tonight. For tomorrow, it looks like we are going to see those temperatures at 91 degrees or 92 degrees with those chances for thunderstorms. Once again, we have a severe weather potential tomorrow, so keep alert as we go through the afternoon. Getting into the weekend, though, looks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, temperatures cooling down into the mid-upper 80s with sunshine. Early parts of next week, some showers and thunderstorms return.
Increasing your risk of migraines, the events during childhood that could affect your odds of developing them as an adult.
And the debate over a World War I statue, how some Marylanders want it changed, and the damage that sparked the controversy.
Actor-comedian Bill Cosby continues to lose support following the admission that he gave drugs to a woman he was pursuing for sex. Walt Disney World removed a bronze statue of the comedian from the Hollywood Studios theme park. Some are also calling on the White House to revoke the Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded to Cosby by former President George W. Bush. The documents dating back to 2005 were released this week. Cosby hasn't been charged with a crime and has repeatedly denied the allegations. But one former DA says there now may be evidence he perjured himself.
If you can show that he told material lies during that transcript, he could still potentially be prosecuted for perjury. The statute of limitations notwithstanding, you have to prove that a crime probably occurred independent of any statements the suspect makes.
Cosby's first accuser is now calling for the release of the full transcript of that 2005 deposition. Now, more than 25 women have accused Bill Cosby of raping or assaulting them.
The bill to remove the Confederate flag from the South Carolina State House faces pushback from state lawmakers. In the House, lawmakers are proposing multiple amendments that could slow or derail the process, including replacing the flag with another Confederate symbol or sending the issue to a referendum. The measure overwhelmingly passed the state Senate yesterday, which would move the flag off State House grounds and into a nearby museum.
I guess we're all thinking today it'd be nice if we could find a way for everyone to get behind a resolution here that we can all live with and say that we respected each other, and we got work to do to get there, I think.
It will take a 2/3 majority in the House and Senate to pass a bill with no amendments attached to it. Amending the bill would force new debate and stall the process. If no amendments pass, the final vote on the measure could come as soon as Thursday or Friday.
There's anger over the fate of a World War I statue, and it's pit neighbor against neighbor in a small Frederick County community. The memorial was hit by a car and damaged. Ironically, it happened the same night a gunman opened fire in a South Carolina church. Kathleen Cairns reports race is at the heart of the controversy surrounding what to do next with the historic statue.
Main Street, Emmitsburg.
We're a small town. Well, we're getting bigger by the minute, though.
It's a town draped in red, white, and blue. But when it comes to race, some hope its history can be colorblind.
It's kind of surprising.
The town's World War I statue hit by a car, now struck by controversy.
I don't think it's really necessary.
Because of the 3 soldiers purposely listed separately.
Colored soldiers.
It becomes offensive to me.
Retired photographer Bob Rosensteel took these past photos of the memorial. He's now on a crusade to change the present so all soldiers are equally honored.
Make sure the black community is put in a rightful, respectful place of honor on our memorials throughout the United States.
But others, like Eric Sloan, object to any changes.
It's history. It's exactly what it is.
It's put neighbors at odds.
Giving into political correctness is a little too much when they start to change history.
This isn't about changing history. This is about respecting your fellow man.
While local politicians are leaning towards a new plaque listing all soldiers alphabetically, the debate is causing delays in repairs. So for now, its fate is undecided.
It's all part of our history.
In Frederick County, Kathleen Cairns, Fox 45 News.
Experiencing a traumatic event during childhood may raise the risk for migraines as an adult. Researchers looked at a mental health survey focusing on witnessing parental domestic abuse, childhood physical and sexual abuse. The more types of violence an individual reported being exposed to during childhood apparently gave them greater odds of developing migraines as an adult. Now, this association held up even after taking into account a wide range of influential factors such as age, race, and a history of depression or anxiety. Well, hopefully those skies will clear up by the end of the weekend.
Here's Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed to let us know how much rain is on the way. Hi, Vetus.
Well, tomorrow's going to be the severe weather day. It looks like in the afternoon we'll have to deal with that, but by Friday it's going to look better. And looking into the weekend, it looks like around Baltimore, Central Maryland, we'll see on Friday 89 degrees, some sunshine, Saturday 86, and then Sunday 87. Now on Friday it's going to be less humid, so those temperatures won't feel bad out there. It'll just be warm, and then on Sunday the humidity builds back in across the area. Now if you're going to be heading out to the beach, it looks like a pretty good one. Ocean City looks nice and sunny as you get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday pretty much the same. It looks like we'll see less humidity into Friday, Saturday looking pretty good with sun and clouds, and then by Sunday looking at those temperatures right around 87, a great day to dip in the water. It looks like it's just going to be a fabulous weekend, but we'll definitely keep an eye to the sky for those severe thunderstorms possibly for later tomorrow evening. Back to you guys.
Manny Machado is taking that power stroke to a national platform. Bruce Cunningham explains next in Sports Unlimited.
It's the right field. That one's hit pretty good way back. Is it high?
After having lost 7 of their last 9 games, the Orioles were looking to turn things around today in Minneapolis and avoid the 3-game sweep at the hands of the home-standing Twins. Ubaldo Jimenez got the start. He pitched well, dodges a bullet, though, here in the first when he gets a strikeout with a bases loaded, no-run score. He would go 5 innings. Now, Bud Norris came on in relief, and that's where the trouble begins. Bottom of the 6th, Brian Dozier takes Norris over the wall and left. That's a 2-run shot, made it 2-1 Twins. Then immediately thereafter, Norris gets ripped again. Joe Mauer goes back-to-back with a solo shot, 3-1 Minnesota. Now the Birds do make some late noise. Top of the 8th, Manny Machado rips it to right and gone. That's his 19th of the year, made it 5-2. And coincidentally enough, the Birds go back-to-back as well. Chris Davis with his 19th makes it 5-3, but they'd get no closer as the Twins complete the 3-game sweep. Meanwhile, Manny Machado's having a gigantic first half, 19 home runs, and next Monday, the entire nation will see that grooved swing of his. We learned this evening that Machado will compete in the All-Star Game Home Run Derby. He's the 3rd Oriole in the last 3 years to compete, joining Adam Jones and Chris Davis. Machado seated 4th, will open up against the Dodgers' Jock Peterson. We get our first look at the Orioles' #1 draft pick. That's coming up at 11:30 as Sports Unlimited continues.
It could be your car of the future. A 3D vehicle makes its debut.
And coming up in just 5 minutes on the late edition, a usual theory, what Councilman Carl Stokes says sparked the unrest on the Saturday before the Baltimore riots. A rough day for a grounds crew member at a Major League Baseball game, the people who came to his rescue. Well, it's being called the car of the future.
The design for the world's first highway-ready 3D printed car makes its debut in Arizona. Local Motors in Chandler, Arizona, revealed the production line that prints a digital design through a machine into a real car. The company CEO says the cars will be filled with the latest technology to help create better and safer products.
It's been 120 years of making cars the same way, and they're heavy and they are sort of safe, but sort of not. We still know people that die every day in vehicles, and so it's super important for us to make an effort to change that.
The CEO says we'll see the first highway-capable 3D printed car by the end of 2016, believe it or not. There's no word on how much it will cost. Another version of the car for city streets will cost between $18,000 and $30,000, which will also be available sometime next year.